Have you ever wondered where trash goes when you throw it away? Well, we're going to answer this question right now. In our video today, we'll be studying garbage in the ocean and its known effect on marine and human life.
If we take time and effort throughout our human life doing projects to clean up the rivers and ocean, reducing waste like microplastic, then we can clean up pollution in the rivers by reducing waste such as plastic bottles and plastic bags that harm marine life. One example is the Indian Garbage River. This river has garbage in it along with other rivers that all need cleaning. These rivers can be cleaned by cleanup projects in communities.
Scientists emphasize that without human intervention, garbage patches will continue to go, reinforcing the need for stronger recycling and waste management strategies to minimize plastic and pollution and prevent further environmental harm. Additionally, the National Ocean Service highlights that garbage patches are not solid islands of trash, but rather areas where debris accumulates due to ocean currents. The size emphasizes that much of this debris remains suspended beneath the surface, making cleanup efforts even more challenging. Science has discovered that these patches contain plastic fragments that are decades old, indicating that once plastic enters the ocean, it persists for extended periods.
The National Ocean Service warns that continued plastic pollution could result in more widespread contamination of marine environments, affecting ecosystems and food chains. This reinforces the urgency of reducing plastic waste at its source through recycling and responsible reusing. Microplastics are something else that we need to get rid of in the vast ocean. According to NOAA.gov, microplastic makes up 92% of the ocean's trash. Microplastics in the ocean affect marine life because marine life can mistake the microplastics as food and eat it. According to NOAA.gov, the microplastics that the ocean life eat can get into the stomachs of ocean life and makes them feel like they have food in their stomach, so they don't eat and they eventually starve because they feel like they are full. One thing that we can do to help stop this problem from expanding is to ask people with lots of power and money to fix this problem. We can ask them to use some money to help with something that will ultimately get microplastics out of the ocean.
I'm Timmy, and today we'll be talking about garbage in our oceans and rivers. One type of garbage that can end up in our oceans and rivers is no-point source pollution, which occurs as a result of runoff. No-point source pollution can come from many sources, like septic tanks of vehicles, farms, livestock, ranches, and forest areas. Pollution that comes from a single source, like an oil or chemical spill, is known as point source pollution. Point source pollution events often have large impacts, but fortunately, they occur less often. Discharge from faulty or damaged factories or water treatment systems is also considered point source pollution. Other more specific types of garbage is soda cans, bags, bottles, and cigarette lighters that we discard on land make up most of the swirling mass known as marine debris. All of this might not seem that bad, or you might wonder, what effect does it have on me? But believe me, it has many effects. Like one example, the Indian Garbage River.
Sadly, in India, 10 to 25% of all plastic waste is littered and ends up in channels and rivers. During the rainy season, there's even more plastic that piles up and never goes anywhere.
When all this piled up waste in the river is untreated, then it goes flowing to anywhere else the river may go, being not just an eyesore, but also very dangerous to human health and resources. It's very crucial to the world to have clean flowing rivers, because in India, 60% of all their drinking water comes from rivers. And in the United States, it's a surprising 70%. So if we all start getting lazy about where we throw our trash, when we could probably dispose of it, we all pay the price. It not only pollutes the water, but also some animals can literally become part plastic. It may not seem that bad for us, but think of food that we're eating, like fish, that can inject massive amounts of plastic into us.
It might seem sad that so much of our drinking water and food is polluted, but there is a way to stop it.
There are organizations that do garbage cleanups, and even you can do this with these simple steps.
Look for an area where there's a lot of litter. Sadly, it's easy to find. After this, you can plan for a time for the operations. Weekends are normally best for river cleanups. You should pick a date at least a month in advance so you have time to prepare and recruit. The length of the cleanup is up to you. A few hours, a half day, or an all-day event even, with lunch. Public or private land, you'll need permission for your cleanup. If it isn't clear who owns or manages the land, call your county auditor or land title office. It's usually easy to get permission for a cleanup on public land. Ask if the agency wants to help sponsor the event by providing trash bags or disposal. If the agency says no, then call your local garbage management company. Tell them that you're doing a public service cleanup. If they still say no, then recruit volunteers with pickup trucks so you can properly dispose of the garbage.
Hello, my name is Daniel, and I'm investigating the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Garbage patches are vast areas in the ocean where marine debris accumulates due to rotating ocean currents and gears. These patches are not solid islands of trash, but rather dispersed collections of debris, including microplastics, fishing nets, and other waste. Here are some key facts. Some major garbage patches around the world are the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, also the North Atlantic Garbage Patch, the South Pacific Garbage Patch, the Indian Ocean Garbage Patch, and the South Atlantic Garbage Patch. Some of the environmental impacts of garbage patches are wildlife entanglement, so lost fishing nets known as ghost nets continue to trap and injure marine life. Plastic ingestion, fish, seabirds, and other marine animals mistakenly consume plastic, leading to health issues. Ecosystem disruption, when microplastics spread throughout the water column, affecting marine food chains, and also difficult cleanup. Debris is constantly moving with the ocean gear, making removal efforts very challenging. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is estimated to contain over 1.8 trillion pieces of plastic waste, with microplastics making up the majority of the debris. These tiny plastic particles result from the breakdown of larger plastic items and are particularly harmful because they are easily ingested by marine organisms. Many fish, seabird, and other marine mammals mistaken these plastics for food, leading to serious health consequences and disruptions in the food chain. One of the biggest challenges in addressing garbage patches is their constant movement. Ocean currents shift the debris, making cleanup efforts difficult. While some organizations have developed technologies to remove plastic waste, the sheer scale of the problem means that prevention is the most effective solution. Reducing plastic, improving waste management, and supporting cleanup initiatives can help reduce the impact of these. Beyond harming wildlife, these patches contribute to the spread of toxic chemicals. Plastic absorbs pollutants from the water, and when marine animals ingest them, these toxins can accumulate in their bodies. This contamination can eventually affect humans who consume seafood, highlighting the far-reaching consequences of ocean pollution. Preventing the Pacific Garbage Patch from growing starts with stopping plastic waste from entering our oceans in the first place. One way to do this is to cut back on using single-use plastics like bottles and bags. Communities can improve local waste management systems so that trash is properly stored and recycled. Better recycling and trash collection methods keep plastic from reaching rivers and the oceans. Local governments and businesses can work together to create stricter rules on waste management and recycling. By taking these steps, we can prevent more garbage from joining the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Some ways you can reduce the amount of plastic going to rivers and oceans is by putting up posters or signs that say that you should bring metal water bottles, or advocating for schools to use biodegradable straws. However, large-scale removal of debris from garbage patches remains challenging due to the constant movement of ocean currents, so prevention is the best possible scenario. By working together through preventing plastic from entering the oceans, we can mitigate the impact of marine debris and protect ocean ecosystems.
See, this is a gyre, okay? But this is just the stuff you can see. Now let's talk about the stuff that you can't see.
Hello, I'm Mitchell Peck, and today I will be talking about microplastics. Microplastics are tiny pieces of trash that can get into the ocean by bypassing the water filtration system with their tiny size. Microplastics are small plastic pieces less than 5 millimeters long, which can be harmful to our ocean and aquatic life. Microplastics is the most common type of plastic in the ocean, taking up 92% of the ocean's plastic. There are two types of microplastics. There are primary and secondary. Primary microplastics are manufactured to be that small, and these include things like virgin resin pellets that are used in the plastics and manufacturing process. So these are very small pellets that are actually melted down to create plastic products.
These are microplastics.
One of the examples of microplastics in the ocean is the South Atlantic garbage patch. There are an estimated 51 trillion microplastic particles in the South Atlantic garbage patch. Microplastics usually go into the ocean when microplastics are dropped into the beach and then they go into the ocean. In the southern portion of the gyre, northwesternly or southward flowing, winds drive eastward flowing currents that are difficult to distinguish from the northern boundary of the Antarctic circumpolar current. Like other ocean gyres, it collects vast amounts of floating debris. The Brazil current is the western boundary current of the gyre. It flows south along the Brazilian coast to the Rio de la Plata. The current is considerably weaker than is its North Atlantic counterpart, the Gulf Stream. Some Dutch people are trying to clean this up, but in my opinion, everyone should. One thing we can do to help this problem is to ask people with lots of power or money to help us fix this problem. We can ask them to use some money to help with something that will ultimately get microplastics out of the ocean.
Then you have microplastics that are used in abrasive blast cleaning. So if you've heard of these things being sandblasted, it's the same idea, except instead of sand, they would be using these tiny plastic particles. And then lastly, what folks might have heard of are microbeads. So these are very tiny spherical plastic particles that are used in cosmetic and personal care products. These are individual synthetic filaments that are woven together to make fabrics like polyester, nylon, and acrylic. Those materials are actually plastic, and it's been estimated that about 1,900 microfibers can be rinsed out into the water in the washing machine when a single clothing item is made from those materials is washed. So that could be another potential source of microplastics, microfibers into the environment. When the marine life have eaten large amounts of particles, they can collect in the stomach, obviously, and what happens oftentimes is the animal gets a sense of feeling full because there's a lot of material in its stomach. But the problem is this material has no nutritional value, so the animal feels full, stops eating, and it's not deriving any nutrition from the plastic particles, and there's the potential for the animal to suffer malnutrition, starvation, and death. In simple terms, the microplastics in our ocean can cause marine life to die off. Like I said, in my research, there are two types of microplastics that can get in our ocean. Even though they are different types of microplastics, they both still have the same effect on sea life as each other. The marine life think that they are both food, so they will eat them, and they can make the marine life starve, killing them.
In government meetings, people with power can make agreements to have scheduled events that can help get rid of microplastics in the ocean. Another thing that would help is to make laws against throwing plastics 5 centimeters or smaller into the trash, and have a certain microplastic pressers that can press microplastics into bigger pieces of plastics that you can throw out. Another law that will help get rid of plastics in the ocean is to only use paper straws instead of plastic straws. Plastic straws can get cut into microplastics that will go into the ocean and cause a huge problem with the digestive system of fish and kill them. If we get rid of plastic straws, they will make much less plastic pollution and much less microplastics in the ocean.
This is the map of the ocean and its gearies and currents.